We got this one from Politico. Time to admit it. Trump is a great president. He's still trying to be a good one. What a world we find ourselves in, ladies and gentlemen, where Politico is calling Trump a great president. Now, they go on to say they're not saying that he's like moral and good. They're saying that he is the greatest president, the president of consequence of our lifetime. And they go on to mention that he appears messianic to his followers in tone. And then we have this. President Trump job approval. Since he began, it has only been a few days, admittedly, but the polls show Donald Trump with a 13-point aggregate net approval, the highest he has ever enjoyed, ever. And his favorability is currently above water. That has only happened one other time, and that was in December. When Trump first got into office in his first term, his favorability was in the gutter. It remained very low. In December of last year, it briefly spiked at 0.2, and this is aggregate. And as of right now, at about 0.2%, Donald Trump is favorable. So you'd expect this because people are going to be like, I don't like the guy, but he's doing a good job. And that's what we're seeing. But a 13% aggregate approval rating right off the bat is massive. And I will add, as a cherry on top, Joe Biden exited his presidency as the lowest approval rating of any president in recorded history.
Now, that's the most popular president in history, Tim. What are you talking
about? That's right. I mean,
1 million.
I'll play that game. I will absolutely play that game, and I will tell every Democrat, what did you do wrong in policy that resulted in the most popular president ever becoming the least popular president ever? Certainly, something related to his policies led to the most popular becoming the least approved. Right?
Well, that's a good point. If we want to eat the narrative, the given narrative about what happened in the 2020 election, then okay, we can now eat it and say, well, didn't you guys mess up? Didn't you guys mess up?
And then what we can do is we can say, let's take a look at all the policies that Democrats rolled out in those 4 years and then explain how this man who got more votes than any president in history then went on to enact these set of policies, and it resulted in him having the lowest recorded approval rating in the history of this country.
What do they mean in the article by he's a great, but he's trying to be a good one?
They're saying great as in
prosperous, grand, yes.
Yeah. And they're saying good. They're saying we're not, like the article's like, we're not saying he's good and morally great, or like we're saying that he's of consequence.
Okay, I see. It's just like ridiculous. What do they consider good? Do they consider Joe Biden's hair sniffing and bombing new wars and prosecuting your political opponents? Is that good?
Good is just nice.
Okay.
If they say the nice things, the things that will make people say, "Oh, that's the nice thing to say," like that kind of stuff.
It's almost like you can't call a president good if they are doing good things.
That's something we talked.
To be fair, if Donald Trump came out right now and said that he was going to do everything he can to help Ukraine win the war, including sending wave after wave of his own men into battle, every mainstream corporate news outlet would be like, Trump is a good president.
Yep.
He is virtuous. We were wrong.
Did you remember on CNN when he bombed Syria for the first time? Right. And then Zachariah came out and was like, Trump became president today. He looks presidential now.
Unreal. The idea that you have to engage in military action to be presidential, I think that's kind of ridiculous. It does come with the territory. You can't deny that fact. But to say that he wasn't presidential until then, I think that's just absurd.
Yeah. It was a slide on his presidency.
So what do you think is causing what they're saying right now is Trump's approval rating is the honeymoon phase. When he first got elected, he was a 4-point net approval, and then it dropped within 3 days. 13 is pretty large. What do you guys think? Is this just a honeymoon's going to go away? Or
a honeymoon phase is Kamala's TikTok campaign. That was a honeymoon phase when she's doing the green screen dancing, and then after a few weeks, it goes back into the toilet. That's a honeymoon phase. Look, this is like the weight of expectation being realized.
Yeah, the Dow Jones Industrial Average hit a new all-time high again today. Crypto is doing well, if I understand correctly. These kind of things add to a sense of well-being to the American population because most people, not most people, but a significant portion of the American population has things like 401ks and they have some kind of savings. So those people look at their 401ks, they look at their portfolios and they say, well, this is good. About the only thing that you can see the Democrats really criticizing Donald Trump on is something that he has no control over, which is the cost of eggs because of the bird flu or whatever that's happened. So there's a problem with getting eggs. That's got nothing to do with Donald Trump or the greater economy. That is just supply and demand.
What do you-
And I think that his approval rating is going to continue to be high for Donald Trump and for presidents in general, as long as he keeps doing things that he promised he was going to do. I think that stuff has a significant effect on his approval rating. The fact that he keeps doing things people say they want.
I want to gloat. I'm gonna brag about the massive wealth that we here at Timcast have in our ability to get eggs, and it's not money, it's chickens. And everybody right now, you know, when that story came out about how stores have run out of eggs and there's a shortage because they're culling chickens, I warned you. But you know what? Hate to say I told you so.
Make chickens great again, huh?
That's right. Absolutely. That's right, good sir.
From Australia, we love our chickens. So.
There you go. So, but now that I've just interrupted with stupid inanities, I don't know, Lau, what do you think?
Trump's been a larger-than-life figure as soon as he kind of came on the political scene. And I think for many people, though, it pushed him over that edge with the assassination attempt in Butler and just the way it happened and the way he kind of escaped death by twisting his head. So for a lot of his evangelical base, that really pushed him over the edge to it makes it seem as though that he survived for a particular reason. And I believe that in his heart of hearts, Trump believes that he was able to survive that assassination attempt for a reason. I believe he thinks it's so he was going to be able to save America. I think he's still riding a high from that assassination attempt with the rally around the flag effect. I think this is about as high as his approval ratings are going to get, but these are amazing heights that we're seeing even to begin with. I think it's an all-time high even for Donald Trump. So as soon as he hits some major roadblocks is when we're going to see when some major decisions have to be made. But we're only, a day or two in, so.
It's 3 days, and I guess today was the 4th day. Trump's approval has never been above 50%. It just in the beginning of his first term for a couple days, this is the only other time, and it is the highest it has ever been.
Yeah, and especially because it feels as though this past election was in a referendum on whether or not you liked Donald Trump's presidency or Joe Biden's presidency more. And I feel like people were having that nostalgia for Donald Trump through the Joe Biden presidency, and that's what brought so many people who might not have typically supported Donald Trump in the past on board for his campaign. I will say this. I feel like Trump's cult-like following, too, is unique in our modern American politics. No other politician has anything near the supporter base who is loyal to Donald Trump no matter what he does and says. Is unique in this modern era. AOC has it differently. Bernie Sanders has it differently. Trump can do no wrong in the eyes of many of his supporters, and I think that's a big part of...
Currently or ever?
Now.
Currently.
Yes.
So, because I would say that Barack Obama had a similar cult of personality, essentially.
I wouldn't say it was the same fervor that we're seeing.
I disagree.
At least in my estimation,
Who do you think would win if they were to run against each other in their peak? It's just like Mike Tyson versus Ali in their peak.
In their peak,
it depends
Barack
on the
Obama.
era. It depends on when it's happening. Because Donald Trump was a reaction to Barack Obama in many ways. There's also this one thing, I forgot it. It was the Correspondents' Dinner when Obama made a slight at Donald Trump, and it was one of the major things that inspired him to run originally. So it's like
Is that when he
it's
said
part
he
of
will
the
never be president?
Yeah, and then they zoom in on Donald Trump's face angrily,
Sweet
stewing in it.
vengeance.
Yeah, there was the he did it when he did the reading mean tweets, but he also did it at the Correspondents' Dinner. And I think the Correspondents' Dinner with a room full of people while Donald Trump is there laughing at Donald Trump's expense, I think that's when he was like, I'm going to run for president, F you. And then obviously, we know what happened from then. But I do think that Barack Obama is directly responsible for MAGA and Donald Trump, because before MAGA, it was the Tea Party, and the Tea Party was strongly disrespected by people like Barack Obama and the Democrats, and they were generally like, well, we need to be the nice Republicans, and then once they were treated so badly for simply saying things like we want low taxes and we don't want to have a big socialist style government. The response was to call them names and stuff. And so then they were just like, well, you know what? Mitt Romney's not getting the job done. So let's go to the guy that'll go ahead and throw his middle fingers up.
Mm.
There was too long a period of these docile Republicans that were just playing the, well, slow down there, Democrats.
Yep.
And then Donald Trump was like, if you elect me, I'll smash the door in. People were like, all right.
Do you guys think that there's going to be a legacy of Trumpers in the White House from now on? I think that we could see one of his sons and then eventually Barron.
Yes.
I think we could see 100 years of Trumpers in
I don't
politics.
know about 100 years.
We
Because I don't see Don Jr. or Eric as being president. Trump Sr. is a unique figure, but Barron,
Yeah.
I definitely
He's got
see.
something. Yeah.
Yeah, aside from the fact that he's like 8'7",
They don't live long. Tall people don't live long.
that's true.
Yeah.
There was a viral post where a guy, a tall guy, was asked by his doctor, "Have you ever seen a tall old person?" So, but I think Barron is going to have a massive impact. Who knows? You never know. But from what I hear, being raised around, like growing up in this world of cutthroat politics that his dad is going through, has made him incredibly savvy and understanding how the political machine works. That means that if he does decide to go this route, he is going to be better at this than anyone around him.
Yeah. And there's also Laura Trump, who is already co-chair of the, the RNC. So she already has her foot in the pond. I think the major...
I don't think a woman will ever be president.
When they look back at Donald Trump, well, that's part of why Trump is 2-0. When they look back on the Trump legacy, I think he'll be one of the last forces
He's
that
2-1, sorry.
He's going to be the last, known as the last guy who's able to unite the Republican Party behind him. I think we're in for a major shift in both of the parties, and Donald Trump will be known as the last guy on the right who's able to get the pro-lifers, the tradcon people, the neocons, the Zionists, everybody on board, and kind of have the three-legged stool of the
Do you
Republican
guys
Party.
think that the days of the canned Republican are over? Because I think one of the things that's attractive about Trump is that he does, he sits down and he talks off the cuff. He's done more interviews in his first 3 days than President Biden did his whole time in office.
Yeah.
And that's not an exaggeration. He's talked to the press more in the past 3 days than Biden has did in his whole time in office. So do you think that that's what the future holds? And do you think that that will be something that the Democrats emulate?
Yeah, I think that I think that Don Jr. will be president one day. If I was a gambling man, I'd put money on that.
But the style,
he's got a similar
Good
sort of.
thing you are
he's got
not a gambling
He's
man.
got a similar sort of swagger to his old man in that regard. But if you look at the next wave coming out, you've got Vance who can do that. I think he still needs to prove himself a little bit because he was a never Trumper. And if the storm really comes and he sticks by Trump's side, then I think people will sort of endear to him more, the ones who haven't already. And then if you've got Vivek, I think Vivek will have a comeback. I think it would be ridiculous to write Vivek off after one stupid Twitter post that was quite revealing.
It was a very stupid.
It was pretty revealing.
antithetical to.
But Donald Trump, and it's wild to me, the story has not gotten traction, gave a speech where he said, this is just the other day, he supports H-1B because we need wine experts and waiters.
And waiters, yeah.
I'm like, where is the outrage? That was worse than what Vivek
Well,
said.
he's Donald Trump, so he could get away with that
right.
stuff. Vivek Ramaswamy cannot get away with that
I
stuff.
don't know if he can. I think that he had a whole movement pushing back against him in this election of people who were saying, no, you're not radical enough. Even a lot of the Catholics.
I feel like he was
saying, "You're too soft
astroturf
on
to
abortion."
begin with, to be fair, though, as far as Vivek Ramaswamy goes.
Yeah, but you don't want that. I mean, you look at India; they've got whole industries around getting people fake degrees and getting people fake qualifications in order to get visas. It's massive in Australia.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.